Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Society of New Haven. To those of you here in the sanctuary, as well as online via Zoom or YouTube, I am Rich Stockton, a member of the Worship Committee and your worship associate today. You can refer to me with the pronouns he and him. And today, once again, we welcome our guest pianist, Tomoko Nakayama. Thank you for your music. USNH is a diverse, multi-generational faith community that inspires lives of compassion and generosity, nurtures spiritual growth, cultivates transformative connections, and creates a more just world. Whether this is your first time with us or you've been here for decades, you are welcome here to explore your faith freely and openly. Thank you, each of you, for choosing to put yourself right here, right now, this morning. Know that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Now, do read the announcements in the order of service, or the newsletter, or on the monitor in the lobby. If you are visiting today and want to learn more about USNH, there's a table in the far right corner of the social hall after the service where members of the Connections team will be available to answer your questions. And I'll mention just some of the activities here. There will be a neighboring faiths class on Sikhism after today's service. Please join Ellen Greist from 12 to 1:30 in the library for this presentation on one of the world's most misunderstood religious traditions. On Friday, May 8th, here at USNH, come for a screening of the movie Orwell, 2 + 2 = 5. The evening will begin with a potluck dinner at 5 p.m., followed by the film at 6. And on Wednesday, May 13th, at 5 p.m., there will be an author talk with USNH's own Tisa Wenger. I don't know if Tisa's here, but to discuss her new book, Spirits of Empire, How Settler Colonialism Made American Religion. Then on Thursday, May 14th, there will be a Sages and Elders Appreciation event. Come at 11:30 for a brief service, followed by a light lunch. And just wanted to remind people that there is a table in the social hall for Connect, our service with other community activities. And please visit to learn more about the work Connect is doing. Finally, the USNH annual meeting will be May 31st at noon, so do mark your calendars. Now, let's relax, take a deep breath. Make sure electronic devices are silent, and let us settle into worship. Loved stands for living our values each day, and we'll begin today with a love talk by Melinda Tu, who's about the Peace and Justice Task Force.
And as other members of the task force come up, I'll just clarify I'm Jackie Trimble Shapiro. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. We have condemned Hamas's attack of Israel October 7th, 2023, but we must see Israel's response, in which top military and civilian leaders called for no food, no medicine, no electricity, no fuel, no water, as an open expression of genocidal intent. And actual genocide has been confirmed by genocide scholars, including Israeli ones, as well as leading human rights groups in Israel and around the world. It is physically, emotionally, and spiritually painful to see the destruction of the people, their homes, hospitals, schools, mosques, and churches, and the entire infrastructure of a society. Hunger is increasing again under a so-called ceasefire since last October, during which Israel has killed almost 1,000 Palestinians. This hurts our hearts. In the past 15 months, our task force has sponsored several educational events to make USNH members aware of the true devastation that is happening in Gaza and now in the West Bank, Lebanon, and throughout the Middle East. In the coming months, we will be providing more opportunities to learn about the apartheid system Israel is operating throughout the Palestinian territory. The separation wall, the separate and unequal road system, the withholding of legally required reimbursements to the Palestinian Authority, the violent occupation of the West Bank by the Israeli military and settlers, and the denial of Palestinian rights. Israeli apartheid forms the basis of othering Palestinians of all backgrounds and enabling genocide. No less an authority on apartheid than Archbishop Desmond Tutu declared that Israeli apartheid was worse than the system in South Africa. The best example among many is Israel's recent law passed that creates the death penalty for the Palestinians convicted of killing Jewish Israelis, but not the reverse. And the conviction rate of Palestinians in Israel military courts is 99%. We just put up a beautiful poster on the bulletin board in the social hall by the piano with the Apartheid-Free Pledge endorsed by the Unitarian Universalist Association at its 2024 General Assembly. We hope that it will be the basis for more discussion leading to USNH adopting the Apartheid-Free Pledge as one step of anti-apartheid action. Please come and see us in the social hall after the service. Thank you.
She's too close.
Yeah, you're just too close.
She was just too close.
I was too close. I apologize. I hope you could hear that. Oh. Whoops.
Thank you so much. In our hymnal are words from the Ojibwe Indians of North America. When I discovered these words, I realized it's my entire sermon today. So you can stay. I hope you'll enjoy the sermon itself. But it's all here in these words. Great Spirit, look at our brokenness. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know that we are the ones who are divided, and we are the ones who must come back together to walk in the sacred way. Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor, that we may heal the earth and heal each other. Thank you, Rich. At this point in our service, we invite anyone to come forward during the singing of our hymn to either light a votive candle for joy or perhaps a stone or a shell into the water if you carry a burden in your heart. We also invoke Christine Chadle, whose memorial service will be following this service at May 17th. Our hymn this morning is 42, Morning So Fair to See. Hymn number 42. Morning so fair to see, lighted in mystery, o'er the earth and resplendent skies. In along, singing our joyous song, as life's an earthly paradise. Tall are the verdant trees, ape are the flashing seas, glorious each one the seasons bring. Brighter his face surmise, shining in pilgrim eyes, on which our waking spirits spring. Age after age we rise, 'neath the eternal skies, into the light from the shadowed past. You may be seated. It is always a happy morning when we get to bring on new ideals, new ideas, fresh blood, new members. It's really important. And we celebrate today with this new member ceremony. So I invite forward Sue Trotta Smith, our president. And it is my great honor to welcome and be part of the welcoming ceremony for the newest members of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. Last Saturday, we gathered, and it was a wonderful morning, and we talked a lot about Unitarian Universalism, our faith, and each one of these people has made a pledge of their time and money and their heart, and they've signed their names this morning into the membership book. And so you are now officially a part of this congregation's history, its present, and its future. And after Sue says a few words, Libby will invite each of you forward for our ceremony. It's all yours.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Whether we were born into this faith or choose it for ourselves, Unitarian Universalism asks us to renew and recommit to that choice every time we gather. As UU writer Liz James notes, this religion is not a thing you join, it is a thing you are called to co-create. We are delighted that you have chosen us as your co-creators.
And in this living tradition of ours, we are able to accomplish together what we could absolutely never do on our own. Our individual quests and our collective strength are intertwined. They are both nourishing and rooting each other. And as our membership grows, so does our potential for healing the world, the words we talked about at the very beginning of this service. So, Libby, if you would come forward and call forward our new members, please.
At this time, I would like to invite forward Larry Abraham, Andrew Curry, Sarah Dunham, Alan Keyes, Judy Keyes, Dolly Lambden, and Pat Manny.
You all will come forward, please. Why don't you come and array yourselves? Yay! Very handsome bunch. I would like you, as members of the congregation, to do your part, because in your order of service are words that you can recite in unison as you greet these new members. And please rise if you are willing and able to say those words together.
We, the members of the Unitarian Society of New Haven, welcome you into this community the spirit of love. May your presence here change us all for the better.
And you all had a brief response that you all could share together.
As new members of the Unitarian Society of New Haven, we offer our commitment and affection for this congregation. We pledge our gifts in support of its ministries in times of shared joy and in times of shared conflict, when our visions align and when we fall short. We will remember the promises we've made and return to each other in the spirit of love.
In that spirit, let us all share the covenant, and I know you all have memorized it, so you got it. Let us now affirm our congregational covenant together. We covenant together
to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. To this end, we will strive to be open, value differences, listen deeply, use kind language, speak our truths, work with conflict, seek humor and joy.
Congratulations to each and every one of you. Blessings. And good night. That's just great. Now we're going to sing the children on. And you know the words. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. This is a reading that I have shared on New Members Sunday before. It's from Christopher Reeve's autobiography in 2002. If that name seems familiar to you, it's because he was the actor who played Superman, and he was also the actor whose career was foreshortened when in a riding accident he fell and he was paralyzed from his neck down. And out of that brokenness, he had to recreate a life, he and his wife Dana. In his autobiography, he writes these words about our particular religious tradition. Gradually, I've come to believe that spirituality is found in the way we live our daily lives. It means spending time thinking about others. It's not so hard to imagine that there is some kind of higher power. We don't have to know what form it takes or exactly where it exists. Just to honor it and to try to live it is enough. Because we are human, we will often fail. But at least we know that we do not deserve to be punished. And that knowledge makes us safe and willing to try again. And as these thoughts unfolded in the process of learning to live my new life, I had no idea that I was becoming a Unitarian. In my late 40s, faith and organized religion unexpectedly converged. Dana, Will, and I attend services regularly, bringing along whatever nurse happens to be on duty. Sue Citriella, a lifelong practicing Catholic, has come with us a number of times and finds the welcoming, non-judgmental atmosphere to be very rewarding. In the words of our minister, we see our congregation as a place where people can be truly religious because they can be true to themselves. where honest doubt is not taken for heresy, and where the beliefs of the past and the present become the inspiration for future growth and discovery. Dana and I were talking after church not too long ago, reflecting on the service and religion in general. I told her what I liked about Unitarian Universalism is that you are not presumed guilty when you walk into the door. You don't have to confess your sins to a priest and be told that 10 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers will make you square with God for at least another week. God isn't a warrior or a terrifying father figure who will embrace you in his arms but take you out to the woodshed in a moment if you misbehave. This church doesn't demand a percentage of your income in order to belong. This God understands that many of us don't know where God lives or even how to spell such a concept as God. It isn't easy for us to love ourselves, our families, or even our neighbors, let alone the totality of humanity. Instead, we are asked to do our best, trusting our innate ability to discern the truth. As Lincoln once said, "When I do good, I feel good. And when I do bad, I feel bad. And that is my religion." That's a great, great reading, and I love sharing it. Christopher Reeve. And now I invite forward Rich to introduce the offering, because we want that percentage. Just kidding, man. You're on.
Well, thank you, Stephen. We have so much to be grateful for, and we have so much to offer to each other. Every week we lift up the spiritual value of generosity by asking for your offering, as well as your pledging for the ministries of this congregation. The stewardship team thanks all who have pledged their support for this coming year. We are currently, and this number has been changing by the minute almost, 99.2% of our goal. And if you have not pledged, please do so in the social hall after service. You can also go to our website, usnh.org, hit donate, or mail to our address, 700 Hartford Turnpike in Hamden, Connecticut. You may also make your offering by text using the number found in your order of service. Or if you are here listening to Tomoko's music, you can put your donation onto a plate as our ushers pass them around. Now, I will read the words in the standard print, and if you could respond in the italics words. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of friendship, a haven in trouble, an open room with encouragement of trouble. It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person. It offers a platform for the free voice, declaring both in times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion. It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress. This house is a cradle for our dreams, a workshop for our common endeavor.
In the sermons I have remaining in my time with you, these 3 years, I have had to address all kinds of issues, some of them pressing and political, and I don't apologize for that. It needed to be done, and I'm glad that we spoke the way we spoke. But in my remaining sermons, I'm going to go unfettered Stephen. I'm going to let my freak flag spiritual fly. Yeah, that's right. Years ago, our son Paul, who's now 42, living in Chicago, he would go with me to various Unitarian Universalist events. And he said to me when we were driving home once, he said, "Dad, I'm not certain that something can be an official Unitarian Universalist service unless someone, at some point, sang Leonard Cohen's anthem." And it was really true. It became just ubiquitous. And I'll just share, I think, a brief excerpt of why. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. There is a crack in everything. This world is decidedly imperfect, and we fit comfortably in it because we're imperfect as well. And one of the guides I have found in dealing with that, where the crack is and how the light comes flooding into our lives, is Makoto Fujimura. His book, A Theology of Making Art and Faith, was published by Yale some years ago, and I'm going to leave it for the library here. And he's a real guide for me in talking about exactly how we live in a world where we are co-creators. Now, we don't always do it well. That's true. But we are undoubtedly part of the divine crafting of this world, of what Kenneth Patton called in that reading we just had, the workshop. Every congregation is a workshop. And what is the art of living a spiritual life? And I'll tell you what I think it is. You and I are not necessarily going to create a Sistine Chapel in our lifetime. We are not likely to write best-selling books. But each of us deal with one particular art, and that is the art of time. Because the moment you discover yourself inexplicably born into this world, until your last breath and perhaps beyond, we live with time. And time is our craft, how we use it and how we lose it, and how we can abuse it and how we can elevate it so that something very powerful is made. How do we craft it? How do we live together? How do we do what the Jews have always called tikkun, which is the repair of the world? Fujimura says that we are always invited to move beyond the sufficient and the essential, to become these co-creators, to be, in his words, extravagant. Thoreau, a long time ago, who knew his way around building tools, said, "Yes, have your dreams, but be prepared to build foundations under those dreams." And what he's talking about is explicitly not merely a metaphor. These are real foundations, crafted with your hands as well as your heart and mind. I think that's what we're about, and that's why religion can be the greatest of the arts. It combines music. Thank goodness for you, it didn't include dance during my ministry. Poetry, the highest of art song, and the common folk songs that we sing together because we know them so well. Everything. Dr. Seuss said, unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. That's true. Dorothy Day said, people say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into the pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. And she said, no one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless because there's just too much work to do. So how do we become co-creators? Well, Fujimura, whose great art shows not only a Japanese sensibility, but also a universal reaching out, says it's really important if you're pounding your pigments and you're mixing in minerals and metals so that you can create what he calls kintsugi. He says it's a slow process that fights against efficiency because you want depth and you want reflection and you want reflected light. You want something simple and elegant and meditative. And he says all artists must engage with trauma, pain, suffering, and mortality. And he knows what he's talking about. His grandfather was one of the first Japanese officials to go into the ravages and nightmare of Nagasaki. And Fujimura and his wife and 2 children lived 4 blocks away from the World Tower. He knows what he's talking about. He's lived it and felt it. So when he talks about the golden repair, this is real. This isn't just a fancy rhetorical metaphor to make us feel good. This is the real deal. The golden repair. Past damage, past repair ultimately, to go creative and to transform and more than fix. Maybe our spirituality needs to be more centered into our hands than in our minds. This is an interesting and provocative thing for Unitarian Universalists. I think it's really important. I'm going to talk about this more next week on my sermon on Universalism. Unitarian Universalists are sometimes frightened and also attracted to that kind of idea of God the artist who communicates to us first before, as Fujimura says, before God the lecturer. I do remember this. I've mentioned this before from this pulpit. One of my mentors in the ministry said, Stephen, Jesus said, feed my sheeps, not my giraffes. Which means go humble. Talk straight. Don't get so lost in metaphors that you forget the practicality of what do we do with our hands? And how do we do this kind of repair? And so Fujimura says, it's important when you have a teapot that's before you, and the porcelain is broken, shattered, really. Then you have to do the work of kintsugi. Kin, meaning gold. Suri, meaning to reconnect, or sometimes we could say fixing. But it's much, much more than what is sometimes referred to as the newness. You take these shards You take the pieces and you go through the painstaking tradition all the way from the 16th century to take these pieces and you put a lacquer between them, you fit them together, you reconstruct, but then you do more. Then you take gold powder and you place it upon the lacquer so that the gold threads through and creates something that is just incredibly beautiful. Out of the brokenness, you've created something that's more than just the newness. It is a literal transformation, something of great beauty. And I would submit to you, that's what we do here all the time. It's what people do in therapy. It's what people do when they take care of each other, they visit each other, when they make that phone call, when they connect up in that deeper association. And it's less restoring than it is redeeming. It's a transformation of our brokenness. And we are broken. There's not a single person here that is not broken. But out of that brokenness may be something that we could not have dreamt of in our youth. Something powerful that takes us into a new place. I think that's ultimately what our spirituality is inviting us into. Is it easy? No. It takes technique and time, devotion, meditation, instruction. It takes being a community as well as being deeply dedicated and devoted to doing the work within your own heart and mind. Because each of us are clay, earth to earth, ashes to ashes. That's the old image. But out of our brokenness and being eminently fragile, which we are, we can in honesty forge a much more truthful theology and way of being together. And how do you do that? Well, forgiveness is a good place to start. Mercy, attention, and compassion. And tikkun, that Jewish word I invoked about the repair of the world. Gold powder, carefully, oh so intricately, and delicately sprinkled and shaken over the lacquer that binds those broken pieces together. All art is more than mending. They are alloyed truths that are blessings when subtly and gently applied. And out of chaos, out of brokenness, there's order. And out of brokenness, there's new creation. And new creation fills in, Pujamora says, the cracks and fissures of our broken, splintered lives, and a golden light shines through, even if only a moment, reminding us of the abundance of the world. All that is made can be remade. All that is made, when broken, may be repaired. Not to go back into its old wholeness, because that's gone, but into something radically new that, again, we could not have dreamed of before. Things change and things transform, especially lives. Oscar Wilde was once asked what one of his plays was about. He says, well, it's kind of like the Bible. It begins in a garden and ends in Revelations. This is the revelation, that out of our brokenness we weave together whatever spirituality can actually save us and save each other. That is the recreation of the world. And I end today with a story by the psychologist Sam Keen. In the endless summer afternoon, my father sat in the shade of a peach tree, carving on a seed that he'd picked up, and finally he had fashioned a small monkey out of the seed. And the boy asked for it when it was finished, and his father replied, "This one is for your mother, but I will carve you one someday." Days and years passed, and the someday on which he was to receive the monkey did not arrive. In truth, I forgot all about the peach seed monkey. Life in the ambience of my father was exciting and secure and colorful. He did all those things for his children a father can do, not the least of which was merely delighting in their existence. But one of the lasting tokens I retained of the measure of his dignity and courage was the manner in which, with emphysema, sapping his energy and eroding his future, he continued to wonder and to struggle and to grow. And in the pure air and heat of an Arizona afternoon, my father and I sat under a juniper tree. And I listened as he wrestled with the task of taking the measure of his success and failure in life. And there came a moment of silence, and suddenly I remembered that peach seed monkey. I heard the right words coming from myself to fill the silence. In all that was important to me, you have never failed me. With one exception, you have kept the promises you made to me, but you never carved me that peach seed monkey. Not long after this conversation, I received a small package in the mail. In it was a peach seed monkey and a note that said, "Here is the monkey that I promised you. You will notice that I broke one leg and had to repair it with glue. I'm sorry I didn't have time to carve a perfect one." 2 weeks later, my father died, but he died only at the end of his life. Out of our brokenness, we can fulfill promises. Out of our brokenness, we forge a world transformed. The only world we have, the only world we've been given. And it may seem on the surface imperfect, and it may appear that we ourselves are broken within that world. But out of that is the only spirituality that can possibly matter, because it is out of that we make the golden repair. Amen. Our final hymn, number 95, "There is More Love Somewhere." There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There's more joy somewhere. And Rich, if you come forward, let's say together the words of Passing the Flame. Carry forth this chalice flame, its illumination into our daily lives, its sustaining warmth into our relationships, the light of reason shining beyond these walls. May we carry the fire of hope in our hearts this day and in the week to come. And now may peace, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge of love. Go in peace. Amen.
Hello.